Good. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Before we get started, I just wanted to recognize I lost my first college head football coach last week in Daryl Mudra. And Mudra taught me so much as a player. And I was only with Daryl for a couple years, but he had a huge impact on my life. And it was sad for me to lose Coach. 93 years old, unbelievable life he lived in football. He started the national championship tradition at North Dakota State in the 60s. And I didn't know that when I played for him in the 80s at Northern Iowa until I went back to North Dakota State and the impact that he had on that football program, that community, as well as Eastern Illinois, Western Illinois, Northern Iowa, all these schools, and had a number of opportunities to visit with him over the last 10 years. Probably not the last 2 or 3, though, because of some health issues that Daryl had. But Terry Allen, who I also played for, and I have communicated a lot about how Coach was doing and what a great life Daryl lived. And thankful I had the opportunity to play for him and get to know him. And just want to rest in peace, Coach. He meant the world to me. Great game by our guys on Saturday. Phenomenal effort, great poise. We didn't panic. We started fast like we needed to. They came back like I knew they would, and we found a way to continue to keep answering the bell when it got close and never got behind. I think that was really important with the crowd the way it was and us not losing the lead. Continued to stay a step ahead and getting an extra possession and getting a field goal before half or a big kick return and getting another score when we were losing the momentum. And then second half, putting a couple of big drives together as well as the defense. Even though we didn't play exceptionally well on defense, we played well at critical times and against one of the best offenses in college football to force a couple of punts in our territory, which really changed, I think, some of the momentum that they had. And then we were able to continue to keep that 2-score lead till the very end. So proud of the guys. We talked about it yesterday as really 12 one-week seasons in college football. And that's what it is, guys. It doesn't matter if it's what league it's in, what conference it's in. Anybody can beat anybody. So you better prepare, better have great preparation, focus, and this week it's no different with Texas Tech. So be an exciting week for us at home on Ag Day here at K-State. Excited about our agriculture background and being an ag school and being a land-grant university. It's going to be a special day here at the Bill.
Coach, we've all focused on Adrian, who's spectacular. Deuce is really good. But how much better was the blocking in this game as opposed to Tulane?
Sustained blocks, and that's we ID'd guys better with a lot of stunts and movements that teams have done to us. And you can ID guys, and you either sustain them or you fall off of blocks. And I thought we did a really good job of sustaining blocks and not falling off of them, and really did a good job at the point of attack. The other thing I know helped us in the run game is the amount of tempo that Colin ran and tried to go fast. We believed that they were going to wait to see what we lined up in, and I think we caught them a few times that gave us not a free 10 yards, 12 yards, but gave us some second and shorts or got us a first down simply by going fast.
And when you go back and look at the film of what Texas Tech did to Texas, how impressive was it?
Very impressive. Got down and sign of a really good football team, guys that believe, and I know they're really well coached. So when they were down and found the resolve to continue to fight and stay in it till the bitter end, and then find a way to win it in overtime, and it was a huge win for Joey and his, got a signature win right away.
Any thoughts on this game was predestinated for the streaming service? Every other game was put on hold but this game, and this is a significant game now in the conference.
Yeah. I don't ever think about that, probably like you do, Fitz. But that's why I say it's 1 week seasons. It's hard to predict what's going to happen in any conference and in any league. And so we'll play them when they play them and where they ask us to play them on and whatever network it is. And our guys are just excited about being 1-0 in league play, and that's the thing that's the most important for us is trying to continue to play well in league play.
Chris, do you have an injury update on us for three guys: Drake, Cheatham, Nate Matlack, and Andrew Langang?
Yeah, Andrew is still out indefinitely. We're trying to learn more from the docs. I really can't get into what it is, but we're trying to learn more this week. I can't tell you if he'll be available. We're still waiting on some more appointments and tests for him. Drake will be fine. And Nate played just a couple of plays on Saturday and couldn't be effective the way that Nate feels like he can be, and I think that helped us because we were smart enough, athletic training staff, to shut him down. So I think it'll help him this week be more healthy.
You mentioned tempo here already today. Texas Tech goes as fast as anybody.
Yeah.
I think they got 100 plays against Texas.
Yeah.
Do you go fast against them, or do you go sure?
Well, yeah. In the past, I'd have said we had to probably slow it down, but for our offense to be successful, they need to be in rhythm. And the one way you get in rhythm is by going faster. And we were able to slow it down when we needed to. I think CK had a great plan of when to go fast and when to slow it down. And we have to continue to mix that up. The thing that, I hope, I haven't looked, you guys know it better than I do. I don't know what the temperature is going to be like at 11 o'clock. On Saturday morning. I know last week it was 90 on the field, and it was hot. Our guys were gassed. The big thing for us, whether you go fast, whether you go slow, you better convert 3rd and 4th down. And we were 10 of 19, and they were 5 of 15. That resulted in us hanging on to the football, I think, 9 more minutes. If we'd have had 25 more plays and lost those 9 minutes, I don't know where we would have found them, especially on the defensive front. So if you're going fast and still moving the chains, I think it's great.
I also wanted to ask, you did play, because of that, he played a lot more guys on defense
Yeah.
in that last game. Is there anybody who got extra playing time and impressed you while they were out there?
TJ Smith, I thought played well and did some really good things. TJ was coming off of an injury and wasn't probably, I know he didn't even play the first game, and then wasn't probably full go, and now he's getting back, and that'll help us because TJ's a good football player that probably got to get more reps to even that out with Kobe, because Kobe's playing really well, but he's playing an awful lot. Nick Allen played some Mike, played some Will. Cody Stufflebean came in, played some plays. Pick played more plays because of Nate. My man Uso played a couple of big-time snaps, and he's going to get more snaps probably. But, Eli's a difference maker in there, and we're excited to see what Uso could do because he can help us.
After the game, I asked Julius Brents about delivering hits to send a message to their receivers, kind of working to a bigger end. How rugged were they, and how effective were the corners throughout the game?
Yeah, we played well in the secondary, even though we gave up a couple of explosives that we don't want to give up. But you're going to against an offense that's that talented. But I liked the way that our corners were aggressive, and Julius especially in man coverage. He made a couple of plays one-on-one on some outside balls that were big, and then he tackled really physically. And that's Julius. He's getting better and better, and I know he's played a lot of football for us, but just understanding what we're doing defensively, I think he's really starting to come into his own and understand our scheme and where he fits, and he played well.
And alluded to a bit earlier, but how much does that prepare you for Miles Price and Texas Tech?
Hopefully it prepares us pretty well as far as the amount of throws, passing game, open sets, ball coming out of the quarterback's hands. These guys are exceptional. It's not just Miles Price. There's a lot of guys that can beat you. They've got running backs that can beat you, a lot of wide receivers. The guy that's really helping us right now is Adrian Lara on scout team. That kid spins it around really, really well with a lot of different wideouts that we use, and Adrian's really challenging us, and it's going to make us better when we do some spread sets, because Adrian can look guys off and put ball in tight windows, and so it's a big challenge every week in the passing game. And we're fortunate we've got really good scout wide receivers and Adrian playing quarterback on the scouts.
Between, having line gang out, you know what happened to Taylor Portier, BB's cramps,
Yep.
Dustin's cramps. What can you say about your offensive line kind of cutting through that?
Yeah.
Picking up a sack against that,
Yeah, they played really well, and you're right. They were beat up and they were fatigued, but they weren't going to be denied. You weren't going to get Hadley or Gilly out of the game. I think KT's playing so well right now. It's fun watching him play with confidence, and all of us have known KT's ability over the last few years, but to see KT playing with such confidence and having fun playing, he's playing at an all-conference level. Duff is pretty silent, but playing really, really well. He's just doing what Duff does, just does his job to a high level. And then, Beebs went out, so Dawson Del Forge came in and did a nice job. Not having Liney in, we lost a backup, especially at the tackle spot, because that's where Liney was playing. So Beebs would have been our kick-out guy to tackle, and didn't happen. And we ended up giving, I think, Coop an IV bag or so in the third quarter, and then he was able to come back and finish it. But this global warming stuff is killing us. It's so dang hot all the time. We can't get this thing cooled down.
How much blitzing you guys are kind of receiving from opposing defenses? Is Deuce Vaughn's pass protection really shining this year?
Yeah, he's been really good. He's worked at it as far as the mental side of knowing who he has, and he's standing up and stoning some guys. He's a really strong kid, and sometimes you don't realize how strong he is when you're coming at him full speed. And he plays with good pad level and with a good base, and he delivers a blow. He doesn't catch it. And I think that's the big thing from a pass protection is, as a running back, you don't want to catch it. You want to deliver the blow, and he's stepped up and made some really nice blocks. That's allowed us to stay sack-free, so to speak, as well as it just gives Adrian more time when a play breaks down to either go make a play with his arm or his legs.
Obviously, you talked about giving up some big plays to Oklahoma, but specifically for a kid like Omar Daniels, how much is, in a better sense of the word, giving up that
Yeah.
big play going to help his development?
Yeah, Omar's a confident kid, and Omar's a really good football player. He got beat by one of the best wide receivers in the Big 12 and probably in the country in Mims. And, some of it's a technique thing. But you're right. I appreciate Omar, because if you're going to play DB, you're going to get beat. Bottom line, you're going to get beat at times, and nobody wants to. You could be a freshman, or you could be a fifth-year senior. It's going to happen. It's just how you respond when it does happen. And Omar will respond. He's a confident guy. We've got a lot of belief in Omar, and it probably will help him. Nobody wants to get beat, but you learn to survive and learn from it.
And then as far as Khalid Duke's development has gone, did he take a major step forward in that game against Oklahoma just with how fast they played?
He continues to take steps forward just with the amount of time he missed, and then getting him back when we started school and the season started. In our mind, we've played 4 games, so that's about 4 weeks. That's his training camp. He missed the 3+ weeks of training camp. That's his training camp. So he's fresh. He's in shape. He's moving around really well. He's confident. It's fun to see the look on Khalid's having fun playing, and it's great to see with some of the challenges that he's been able to overcome that his best football is still in front of him this year.
Vincent was your leading receiver against Oklahoma. Was that something you saw in prep, or you just wanting to get him work a little more in the past?
I think it was something that we saw in prep to try to get some seam routes and vertical routes, and he happened to be the guy that either was open or Adrian did a nice job of looking off the safety and finding him sitting down in the zone. And, it's not an easy catch because you don't know where the guy's coming from. You don't know if you're going to get hit, undercut, whatever. You don't know where the defender sometime is. And those are big-time plays. I mean, those were explosive plays. We talk about explosive plays. the two seam routes that I know he had, I think one was on the first drive that set us up for a score, and then another one came when we were maybe tied or had to have a drive, and made some kids. He carried some guys. He's a big guy. He carried some guys for 5, 6, 7 more yards. But it was good to see Ben add some things to our passing game with our wide receivers, who all played well.
And with Texas Tech at quarterback, I think it's a very slim, maybe slim to none chance that Tyler Shuck plays. But are you dedicating any prep time towards him?
We've got to watch the film. It's hard to beat Texas and make a change. I don't know if they will or not. That's coaches. Joey's got to decide that. But we'll watch the film because I think there are some differences between the two guys. But Smith's playing really, really well right now, and played, I think, dynamite against Texas. So obviously that's more of our focal point. But you never know who's going to come in offensively, defensively for either team and make a play or two that could turn the game.
I think on the 55 run, Adrian pulled the ball down, but I was wondering how many of his runs were design plays, and also how his threat as a runner, how much does that maybe open things up for Deuce?
Well, it definitely opens things up. I think we can all see that. The touchdown runs were all designed runs. The long run obviously wasn't a design run. We had, just talking on the headsets with CK, we were going to try to run 4 vertical again and see if we could throw a seam ball for 15 or 20 yards, and they did a good job covering the seams. And I think Adrian, which I was so appreciative of, had the mindset that if the seam was covered, I'm gone, because we couldn't have thrown a shorter comeback if the seams were covered and probably gotten the first down, and we'd have punted in a 1-score game. And so once he saw the seams being taken away, I think that lifted some of the underneath coverage out of there. And then when he took off and ran, he just had to beat one guy to get to the corner. And then I think the thing that impressed all of us and what we were all wanting to see, and we did see, was he put it in another gear in the fourth quarter, and that was a gear that I had seen and knew was in him, and he knew it was in him. And to have that second gear and to split the safeties and outrun everybody, and then just the smartness of sliding and keeping the ball in play so that the clock had to keep running, because we knew at that time it became, whether we got a touchdown or field goal, it became a clock issue and possessions and timeouts left.
Can you describe, as a defensive coach, the most difficult part about preparing for an air raid offense that throws the ball 55, 60 times a game?
Yeah, just trying to keep the ball in front of you, trying not to give up explosive plays is the first thing. There's a lot of motions, a lot of what we call formation into the boundary, where they're stacking receivers to the short side, trying to just outnumber you and trying to make sure that we, can even out the numbers, so to speak. You have to be able to get a pass rush. It's always sometimes hard to get a pass rush because the ball comes out. But if you don't try to get a pass rush, then they're not going to have the ball come out, and then they're going to hold it for a little bit. There's a lot of different things. And so, for Coach Klieman and that defensive staff, it's trying to change some things up. You've got to be able to play man. You've got to be able to play zone. You've got to be able to pressure. You've got to be able to drop H. You have to keep changing the picture, which seems like an easy thing to do. But when the tempo is as fast as it is, you probably got to limit some of your calls.
And I know Oklahoma's offense is based a little bit more on finding success on the ground, running the ball, but it is still based on explosive plays through the air. Is there any benefit towards playing an offense like Oklahoma and then being able to transition game plan-wise into attack?
Yeah, I think the systems are a little bit different, but the tempo is not. So the tempo helps us, and the fact that we had to get ready to go right away again. But, the systems are a little bit different. These guys can still run the ball. They've got 2 really good running backs that have been around there a long time and have been productive for a long time. So it's not one of those things where you can say, we're going to drop everybody and just say you're going to run the ball. That's the first thing we have to try to do is shut down the run game as best we can, or at least control it. I shouldn't say shut it down. I don't think you're going to shut it down. Just control it so that, once again, you're not having those 2nd and 4s and explosive plays given up.
And then after the game, you said we're not looking at Texas Tech at all, but I know you kind of followed this 24-hour rule.
Mhm.
What was that transition like for you and the rest of your staff and players on Sunday?
Yeah, well, the 24-hour rule came into about a 6-hour rule. Because by the time we got home, thanks Dr. Trace and the Pride for being here at Veneer. When we got back, our kids loved that. Like that's one of the neatest traditions that is around in college football, and to see guys like Josh Hayes and Kobe Savage and Adrian and any new player come back to Veneer and see the droves of band members and cheer squad, and that's special, and can't thank Dr. Trace enough for getting that done. But so we get home at 3 or 4 in the morning, and had a TV show to do in the morning, so didn't sleep a whole lot on Saturday night, and was back here ready to get to work, and so someday we'll get caught up. But you're fortunate to win, and when you play on the road at night, that's the disadvantage. You've not coaches will bounce back. We'll find a way to bounce back. It's the players that are going to bed at 3 and 4 in the morning. We have treatment on Sunday. They don't have anything after that, but then we're practicing Monday, practicing Tuesday, Wednesday. I mean, it's a normal week, and your bodies are beat up anyway, and you got to get your bodies back, and that's our main focus this week is getting the players' bodies back. Coaches will get their bodies back, but the players got to get them back.
Kobe Savage was named Big 12 Newcomer of the Week. I was just curious what you could say about Kobe.
Yeah, Kobe's been a great addition for us. We knew it in the spring when we brought him here because of his energy and love for football, and he just has continued to improve from spring to summer and then through fall camp. But if you'd track him for a day, when that kid doesn't probably sleep a whole lot, that kid is always doing something football, whether it's recovery to doing extra drills after practice, or I remember coming up here on a Friday, Saturday during June when we'd have recruits up here and it's 90-some degrees out, and he and a handful of guys are out there working out all the friggin' time in the heat to the amount of time he sits in Coach Klieman's office and just talks ball. It's fun because he's reaping the rewards, but he's put the work and the effort in, and so it's neat when a kid has the success that he is surely has earned.
Another thing, speaking to his dad this morning, one of the things that they really appreciated was the opportunity to meet you that first day on the recruiting trip. I was wondering maybe the message you sent to them, or what you might recall of that.
Great family for starters, and very close-knit family, very invested in their children, and we kind of do what we always do. We show them who we are, show them the kind of people we are, the impact of all the people, not Coach Klieman, but all the people that are going to impact him, from nutrition to strength and conditioning to athletic training to academics to assistant coaches to everybody that's going to have an impact on that kid's life. And that's the 50-year plan. That's not the 3-year plan. That's the 50-year plan. And that's what we try to sell to all our people. We're going to give you an unbelievable degree, an unbelievable opportunity to be successful with a bunch of really great guys in the locker room that care about each other, that love each other. But I want to make sure in the next 50 years you're going to be an unbelievable community member, father, husband, leader, whatever it may be. And that's something that I think everybody in this football department shows a kid when they come on a visit. And that's the difference.
Chris, I know you struggled the first couple of weeks of the season, but he was perfect against Oklahoma. What were your thoughts of him, and what was kind of different?
I'm sorry, I kind of missed it because Kellis asking the question again.
Chris Tennant struggled
Oh.
the first couple of weeks of the season, was perfect against Oklahoma. What was different about that, and what did you see?
I appreciate you asking about Chris. His mindset never changes, and I just love the way he approaches things. He never gets too high. He never gets too low. Chris and I both know he needs to make the short field goals he has. There's no reason for me to go up and yell at the kid and say, "What the heck you doing?" It's like missing a 4-foot putt. Everybody misses them. Well, Gene doesn't, but most people do.
I don't usually have 4 foot.
And Chris just continued to work, and that's all he did. And I don't care. I don't even know what the distance of the field goals were. That place was rocking, and he didn't flinch. and he banged them through with confidence. And I'm excited for Chris because we all know what kind of leg he has and what athlete is. I'm excited for his future.
I know you talked about it briefly after the game, but when you get in those substitution patterns with another team and you see them subbing late, is that something you do work on?
Yeah.
You're saying like, all right, there's 20 seconds on the clock, you get out there and take 15 seconds here?
Absolutely. You have to. I mean, that's the rule, and they put the rule in play that if you substitute, you have time to match that substitution. And we knew it was a critical situation, and they substituted late, and I screamed in the headset, "Send somebody! Send somebody!" And Buddy did the perfect thing and sent a defensive end for a defensive end, and those kids don't run 4.4, so it's going to take them a little while to get out there, and then take them a while to get back. And then I think they substituted again another guy. Yeah, I mean, you hate it as an offensive coach, but that's the rule. And so it was a benefit for us, and we're fortunate because it worked out. I think they had a delay on that time, and so I don't know if I think that was one that knocked them into a punt that they were going to go for it. So yeah, we work on that, and really sharp by Coach Wyatt to get a DN for a DN. It'd be easy to just ship the corner out that was closest to us, but I don't know if it was Mott for stuff or something like that. But we went DN for DN and took our time.
Last question.
Was there anything that you maybe didn't notice or didn't get a chance to appreciate on the field about Adrian's performance that, looking back over film, really?
The calmness that he had, the confidence that he had, nothing rattled him. And we were able to get to the line of scrimmage most of the time soon enough that he didn't like something. He was calm, came up, made some changes to some plays, and got us in the right call. That was the cool thing that I saw in front of 84,000 people, that he's just like, all right, I got this under control.
Coach, real quick, you have a birthday today, you're over 50. It is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Have you had your PSA school?
Yes, I have.
Thank you. Well done.
Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.